Okay, this is the Kubba Dovitul. This is one of the Nigunim Dovitul recorded, and he thinks much better than I do, but anyway.
No such thing.
Yeah. I tell you what, not only that, I owe you this niggin. You know why? I made it up a Shana Rabba by Hallel. Then you recorded it and then you played it back to me. Yeah. No, let's go. Let's make it see better. No, wait, can you put it on? On C. No, on B. On the second. What happened?
It's rubbing a little bit. We'll change it.
Okay, let's go. Jump there.
Where?
You sure just get here also? Hey, Dovitul. Wo gaat vergeulen? Gewalt. שובי נפשי מנוחתי כי השם גמל עליכי גמל עליכי שובי נפשי מנוחתי Hashem, Gomalo Loichi, Gomalo Loichi, Kirilakto, Nafshi Mimo, Bezeze, Nimidimo, Ezrak, Li Ezrak, Nimi, Dechi, Rai 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 Kichelakto nafshi mimo bezeze nimidi Ezrak, Ezrak, Nimi, Dechi, Shovi Nafshi, Emnochaiti, Ki Hashem, Gomal Olaichi, Gomal Olaichi. Da 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 ay da 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 la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Okay, Mama, thank you. Hadassah, hi, darling. Haven't seen you in 2,000 years. How you doing, David? Okay? Okay. No, you know, Rosh Chodesh Nisan is Mamash Rosh Hashanah. But it's the sweetest Rosh Hashanah in the world. How do you know which is a good doctor? If someone needs an injection, have you ever seen like a fake doctor puts a needle here, then there, and it's not, this arm is no good, try the other one. And then he says, no, let's put it somewhere else. You know? The Moshe Rebbe once said, how do you know who is a good driver? Comes to a U-turn, when you go straight, every driver is good. But it comes to a U-turn, right? Because here, there, till never kids shokol, you know? Your kish is going over. A good driver makes a U-turn. You know, Rosh Hashanah, it's so heavy, gewalt, right? On Chodesh Nisan, it is so good, right? It's mamish, it's mamish a new year. And everything is good. Anyway, good Chodesh. Anyway, okay, where are we now? Oh, here's Sefer. I'm sure you learned it better than I will ever learn it, so don't expect anything, okay? Okay, before I even begin, you know, let me just give you a few things. There's a Gewalt story. His name is naftali yehuda Berlin. He was Roshiva in Volozhin. Anybody who knows anything about the tailor knows that he was like the Rebbe of all the Rebbes, right? Like the tailor of the last 150 years, not to be believed, you know. It was like, and sad enough, and yeshiva closed. It's a long story. But besides all the sforim he gave out the Sefer Hemek Dova and Chumash, which was very precious to him. On the day the Sefer came out, he made a big feast. And he told the story that when he was little, his father was a tailor. He was very poor. So his father wanted him also to be a good tailor. So when he was about 11, 12, his father was preparing him to become a good tailor. But he didn't want to be a tailor. So one day, Mamish on his own, he ran off. He went to yeshiva and learned, right? So he says he had a Gewalt dream that he became a tailor. He was a good tailor. Comes up to heaven. He's a good tailor. He goes to paradise. Right? But before he goes into paradise, they say, we want to show you something. We want to show you something. You know. So angels come, and they roll in all this forum which he could have written. He would have gone to learn Torah, right? And they told him, look what you missed out. And it hurt him so much in the dream. Look what I could have been. I could have been a light to Israel for all generations to come. So it was a cute tailor. And he says, and from great pain, he woke up. So he decided, if God gave him the privilege not to be a tailor, but to come out with the book, he has to make a feast. I want you to know something very deep. I need a strong broccoli to get rid of this cold. It's crazy. Schlepping after me, I'm trying to throw it off, and it's loves me so much, doesn't leave me. You never know who loves you, right? L'chaim. Yom Kippur, I was learning a little bit last night, but even stronger today. On Yom Kippur, I'm dealing with the whole Torah, right? The Torah says, don't eat the hamburger on Yom Kippur. I'm sorry, God, I will tell you the truth. I was in a bad mood, I ate a hamburger. Shabbos, I'm not supposed to drive a car. What can I do? I had a date with this girl, and I thought maybe it's a shidduch, it's very, very important. I drove down. Okay, I'm dealing with dinim of the Torah, right? I'm not really dealing with mamish, humble me, right? Pesach, the whole thing is in my house. It's in my house. See, if my neighbor has chomet, it's not my business. Yeah, maybe I should Shcheina Hakov, I should tell him, but it's my house. That means Pesach is mamish, my own house, my own life. And I have to be by the chomets in my life. The deeper steps of my life. What's wrong with me, right? But before God can tell me what's wrong with me, He has first to show me what's good with me, right? Listen, if I tell a person who walks on all four, why do you walk on all four? First I have to show him a person who walks on two, right? So before I can even tell a person what's wrong with you, first I have to show you where you can be. And this is awesome. So we learn it inside a few minutes. First it says, Oil Labos. The great light is shining on the 14th. You know what light before B'dikas Chometz at night? That night God is showing you where you could be. God is showing you your own roots, where you reach, right? Where you're reaching. Let me tell you on a very simple level. Let me ask you, do we ever know how much we mean to other people? We don't know, right? So you're my friend, I love you, you love me, like, it's all beautiful. Imagine if God would reveal to me how much I mean to this other person. Gewalt, would I be careful? Gewalt, would I be careful? Awesome, right? Let me tell you something very, very deep. You know, let's assume there's one moishel in the world I can't stand. And one of my side hobbies is to say bad things about moishel. That's you. Then one day it would be revealed to me prophetically that this Moshe loves me so much, I would die from shame. I would die from shame. Gewalt. How come I'm so unsensitive? Gewalt. Where do I stand? Where do I stand? I want you to know one more thing. Let's say, imagine Heilig Reb David or the Reb Meir would tell me, listen, I want to talk to you. Yes, I'll be on my toes, right? Someone important wants to talk to me, right? He wants to talk to me. Imagine if it would be clear to me every morning that the Rebbe Shem, the master of the world, wants me to talk to him in the morning. It would be mamish clear to me, right? Humanly speaking, the Rebbe Shem, like the Zohar Kodesh says, the Rebbe Shem is mamish waiting for every Yid to daven Shachar. Would I just knock off the davening? I wouldn't be able to do it, right? Let's assume husband and wife, right? You wake up in the morning, say good morning, you know. How do most parents say good morning to their children? Most don't say it, and if they do, they say good morning. Imagine it would be clear to them that the children in their dreams are waiting for the morning for their parents to tell them good morning. But imagine my child is already grown up, and suddenly, prophetically, I get a message from heaven. Do you know that the whole life of your child, he or she was waiting for you to tell them one time a gewalt good morning? It would be impossible to live after that. And if I would live, it would be a miracle, right? Gewalt, what I could have done. So you see the deepest depth is. Imagine if I had this unbelievable prophecy that my child was waiting all those years for me to tell him or tell her good morning properly, right? And now she's waited, that's 30 years old. I wouldn't be able to bear it. But imagine if at the same moment of another prophecy, oh, why don't you tell them good morning right now? And it'll fix everything. It'll fix everything. All you have to do right now, just say it. And it's so easy. You know what I mean to say? It is deeper than doing tshuva. It is deeper than doing tshuva. I'm not standing the night before Pesach, no. You know what I'm going to do? And I just want to tell you outside first what he says. The night before Pesach, God is shining into me where I'm reaching my roots. That means where I am reaching, humanly speaking, in God's heart. You know what roots are? The long string, right? And I shockled the string here, right? But it's shockling up there, 2 million miles up there, right? You know what it says? Yaakov chevel nachlosai. Yaakov, a little yideli here. You know the Chudusharim says, a yid who doesn't believe that I put my yarmulke from the right to left, I'm turning over heaven and earth, doesn't know what Yiddishkeit is. So on one hand, it shows me where I'm reaching. And then I realize I did everything wrong. But you know what it shows me also? All you have to do, there is 1 crumb chomet you have to get rid of. Doesn't cost anything, no pain. There is 1 little crumb inside of you which has to be thrown out. That's it. And you know what it means? It's even deeper than Yom Kippur. I don't have to do tshuva and I'm not promising anything. But while I'm looking for the chometz, and you see the chometz is my chometz, and you'll tell me, where does it say Shulchan that this is chometz? You know it's chometz, right? You know it's chometz. I want you to know one of the greatest things in my life, which Mamash gave me a taste of Shabbos, when the Holy Bob Rebbe came the first time to America. He was the first Rebbe who came after the war. Unbelievable, right? I mean, what a privilege. First of all, he saved thousands of he saved thousands of babies because he was dressed as a Polish officer, and he was working in Nazi headquarters. I think I shared with you. Every morning in a helicopter, they would fly over all the concentration camps in Poland and inspect if everything is, if the gas chambers, if smoke's coming out, go out. Can you imagine, Mamish? He was sitting there right next to the Nazi general, supervising. But he could go into concentration camps whenever he wanted to. Brought out hundreds of babies. He was caught 127 times. Like a Holy Mother saw, 127 times. But anyway, what I want to tell you is, what I remember forever is the first time I saw him. He davened, and after the davening, the way he said Good Shabbos. Until that moment, never seen anybody saying Good Shabbos. Besides Moshe Good Shabbos, which is a different parsha, right? Shabbos, right? I think I shared with you, when, I have a twin brother, I had a twin, I guess, actually, 2 days ago was a yahrzeit, and we were little kids then. I'm 15 years old. So he took my hand or my brother's hand between his two hands. He looked at us and he says, we know each other from last lifetime, Gewalt, right? Rebbes don't talk like this always, right? Special moment. But the way he says Good Shabbos to us, I was always talking to my brother, if you have a little taste in Shabbos, it's from the Good Shabbos of the Baba Rebbe, right? So imagine my whole life I didn't say Good Shabbos properly. So say tonight, it's clear to me, get rid of your chometz in there, right? That's it. You know what that means? What kept you from being the way you're supposed to be is not 10,000,000 tons of garbage, which you have to get rid of. One little crumb. Okay, now let's learn inside. Ma shezua mesechta maschilas b'milas oya. Why is Aram, you coming? You coming in? Yeah. Okay, why is this mesechta of Pesach? I'm sorry. Wow. Why is this mesechta of Pesach beginning with the word light? Hu kubzeh achak me'er shemizboch le'en odam sheyakir mekoyma v'sheroshay mamish on Pesach. When I have to look for my chometz, the first thing God has to show me my roots. And God is showing me my place in the world, where I could be. And then the Yerem Fush Shoresh Chesroina. And then suddenly, mamish, it's clear to me, not only my roots in heaven, also the roots of my chometz. What's keeping me? What's keeping me from being the way I'm supposed to be? And here comes the deepest Torah in the world. Why? And again, I'll say it first outside and learn inside. There's an unbelievable Torah in Oisteshe from the brother of the Beis Yaakov. Do you know on Pesach we have to bring a chatos, a sin offering? So he asked the deepest question in the world. Last night we got out of Egypt. I mean, how much sinning do you have time to do, say the night? Even if you're an expert on sin, right? Like some of us. So the next morning you're ready, you have to bring a sin offering? So he says the deepest Torah in the world. That night, when we got out of Egypt, we could have brought Mashiach. The gates were open. The gates were open. We were so happy to get out of Egypt that we didn't ask for more. I'm getting out of Egypt. You know, it was suddenly so clear to me. You know, during the 6-day war, when we came back to Yerushalayim, we could have asked Reb Hashem, bring Mashiach. At that moment, the gates were open. We were so happy that Goran blew the shofar by the Holy Wall, and Moshe Dayan was a great general. We were so happy. That's it. Why didn't you ask for more? You know, there's a tailor in Bes Yaakov, another place, which is so deep and so real. Okay, imagine Rab Miki and Rab Dovidu want to get some money for your car, so finally you have an interview with Brother Rothschild, right? So Rabbi Rosen and Rabbi Zeller coming to Paris to meet Brother Rothschild. Gewalt. So Rothschild says, I'm very much impressed with your work, and what can I give? What can I give? What can I give you, right? So Doolittle thinks, I don't want to be a pig, take away all his money. What should I say? So he says, you know what? Give me $50,000. Rothschild says, I wanted to give you $2 million. I wanted to give you $2 million. Right? You see what it is? On Yom Kippur, I'm giving God a schedule what I want. You know why I have to tell him exactly what I want? Because the doors are not that much open. It's still a supermarket. You tell God, I want this, I want this. God says, let's open your account, how much credit you have, and we'll see what's going on. Did you pay last year's bill? Okay, we'll bargain it out, right? Seder night is a completely different story. Seder night, the gates of heaven are so open that God wants to give you everything. Mamish everything. So why didn't you take it? One of the last tailors, the Friedrich Lubavitcher Rebbe said, he passed away, Mamish Russo Jungelene, he passed away Yud Shvat, and the last tish he had was Yutis Kislev. It was awesome, Later on we realized it was Mamish telling us his last will. But at that moment we didn't know. One of the things he says, we are always coming to God like beggars. What's a beggar on the street asking? A quarter, $1. If he has gewalt chutzpah, he says, give me $5. He says, we are not beggars. We're not homeless people. Why did he ask God for everything? He says, can you imagine the son of Rothschild is standing on a street corner begging for a quarter? We should ask your father, for everything. The Rebbe wants to give us everything. Why are we so small? So here comes the Torah. And you see what it is? Every Pesach, the gates are open, and God wants to give us everything. And hopefully, every year, we are fixing our vessels just a little bit more. And the closer we get to Mashiach, hopefully, God gives us more. שבאמס כל הטובה שהבטיח שמצוו לישראל כבר ניתן להם. שהרבה הבטחות נראה בלא שנובה. This is the deepest story of the world. The Ishmael says, not God, only God wants to give it to you. He gave it to you already. It's already in my account. It's just lying there. I'm sorry, what? It's in my account already. God forwarded it to my account in the Holy Bank, right? So why don't I see it? Because it's so dark. It's unbelievable. So you hear what he says. The light is an unbelievable, like two sides. On one side, on one hand, God is showing me who I am, right? And then God is showing me also what I have. And you have it. You have it all. Let's put it this way. I'm learning Gemara and I say, Rabbi Shem, please, I would like to know this page. On Pesach, you can say to God, I would like to know the whole Shas tonight. Why not? You see, Shavuos, I was learning it last night, if you remember, Shavuos is, the Torah is down to this world. In this world, first you learn Aleph Beis, you learn one sentence, then you read a chapter, you read another book. It's a slow process because God created the world in 6 days. Takes a little while. Pesach is not on the level of Shabbos. Memochas is Shabbos, right? Shabbos is no time. No time. See what I'm learning Seder night is not words. I'm not sitting Seder night and learn Steinmarks and Metallis. And again, remember we were learning last night, the Haggadah was written by Yonovi. A Yonovi lives forever. And you know what this forever does not mean only he'll live forever 2 million years from now. He lives forever every second. He lives forever every second. It means every second is awesome. So he says on Seder night, that means the night before the Seder, God lets me know where I reach. God lets me know my place in the world, it's all one. And God lets me know it's all there already. You know why am I opening the door till Yonovi Seder night? Because it's clear to me, Yonovi is standing by the door, wants to come in. All year long, I'm not aware of it. Then one more thing. The most important thing, do you know what God needs you for? Do you know which is the one mitzvah which connects you to God? You know, every person has to keep the whole Torah. But there is one mitzvah which is the mitzvah of my neshama. It's one thing. You know, sometimes you see a person, maybe their mitzvah is davening, right? Then you meet another person, maybe their big mitzvah is to do favors to others. Maybe one person, his biggest mitzvah is to go to hospitals to visit people. That doesn't mean he doesn't have to put on tefillin. Yeah, but this is his mitzvah, right? Do you know all the Rebbes? Every Rebbe had one Masechta, was his Masechta. As much as they knew every word of the Torah. You know the Holy Sanzer, his Masechta was Bo Metzir. He learned 20 years Bo Metzir. Unbelievable, God, can you imagine what level, right? Awesome, right? The Heilige Reb Shlomo learned Masechta Sukkah all his life. There's an unbelievable story. The Kotzker Rebbe called somebody in. He says, I want you to know one Masechta by heart. So he thought he'll be very clever. The smallest Masechta is Masechta Horayitz, right? Only 12 pages. He comes back and he says, Mama should all live long. Says, Rebbe, I learned Masechta Horayitz by heart. Kotzker Rebbe says, Aye. Do you know Chas Shon? was decreed in heaven you should leave the world. So I prayed you out that you shouldn't leave the world until you know one Masechta by heart. If you would have taken Masechta Bava Basra, has 172 pages, you could have lived for another 10 years. Right? It's unbelievable, right? You know, sometimes we think we are so clever. We are fooling God. We're never fooling God. We're only fooling ourselves. Okay, Seder night, Mamish, I see my place in the world. Why am I a little bit sad inside? We all are sad inside. Imagine I have $1 million in the bank in Switzerland, but I don't know the name of the bank. Heartbreaking, right? I schlep myself like a schlepper, and I have $1 million, I don't know where it is, right? Seder night, the night before the Seder, God lets me know the name of my bank in heaven. Where this mitzvah is, which opens all the gates for me. See, the moment I would know exactly my roots, the moment I would know exactly my connection, where my connection is, let's assume, suddenly would be clear to me that my deepest connection to God is Shabbos. Then I will know right away that Masechta Shabbos, my Masechta, right? Or let's assume something else. Maybe my way of serving God is by fasting. Masechta Tanis, right? Or imagine it's clear to me suddenly that my biggest thing is Pesach. So that I will know, Mamish, to learn Masechta Pesach, right? And also, I'm so sad because I don't know how to fix my past. I don't know how to fix everything. But you see, this one mitzvah, which I'm supposed to do, this one Masechta, which I'm supposed to learn, this is my key. Remember, we're learning a lot of times, how do I know which is the key to the door? Very simple. If you have to quetch 100 times till it opens, it's not the key, right? If it's a real key, no problem, right? I put it in, now open it, right? You know why we have so much trouble opening our hearts? Because I'm opening it with the wrong key, right? Imagine my Masechta is Psochim, and I'm sitting there quetching boom, it's here. Hey, it doesn't go. I break the key, and Chas v'Shalom knows what. So this is what it is. We go from one good thing to the other, right? Most of us, we don't have our act together because we don't know what we're supposed to do, right? This is Gewalt. וכן בעניון העולם הזה, מה שעוד המצא לפעמים, כמו הפרנוס הקדומים, וגם כמחמש לבוא על חסכון הנשגנה. And this is the deepest depths in the world, really. How does Parnosa come? I'm sure you know it anyway. I always think, I have the store, and I believe 100% that it's not really the store, it's God who's helping me with the store, but regardless, it's a store and I get money through it. Which is true. 100% true. But you see what it is? I forget sometimes Parnosa doesn't start in this world. Parnosa is a mamish gewalt energy coming down from heaven. Gewalt, right? Sometimes the helicopter comes down, bringing me Parnosa. Sometimes it's 747, right? Sometimes a Concorde. Maybe it's a missile, right? I don't know, right? And you know why I have so much trouble with parnasa? Because I don't know my roots. I'm completely off my roots. But you see, I'm sure you know this, we think in heaven they're just flying around there. They're mamish away, right? Mamish, an airplane is like a highway. And sometimes an airplane shockers when it comes up to a certain altitude because it's not on that highway yet, right? Till it reaches that highway where it's mamish like on a street, right? Once I had the privilege of sitting next to a pilot from United Airlines, was a gewalt, and he was mamish explaining me everything, though, as much as I was able to fathom, right? But this is what he told me. You see, you just see air. You're not amazed what's going on in heaven, right? The streets. He said, let's say, for instance, he says, from New York to Israel, there's a highway, there's a street. There is a street in heaven from New York to Tel Aviv, right? But sometimes, till the airplane gets on it, shock us a little bit. But when it's on it, go straight, right? See what it is? There is like, for me to heaven, there's a highway. And my parnasa, my helicopter, or my 747, this is the way from heaven, right? But if I'm not connected to my roots, then the parnasa also doesn't reach me. Everything doesn't come in the right place. And here I want you to open your heart the deepest way. When we ate from the tree of knowledge, God says, you'll eat your food with sadness. It was not a punishment. It was just a fact. Because that food from the tree of knowledge was not for my roots, right? It didn't come from the highway from God to me, right? Remember, we're learning it a lot of times, and I don't want to go over it again. Remember, but it's so good to have to tell you again, in case you weren't there. The first teaching Moshe Rabbeinu gives us after we stood on Mount Sinai, he says, if someone steals, you remember, a little bit heartbreaking, right? I expected something else. The first teaching after Moshe comes down from heaven, I expected a talk. What is God, right? Or the importance of God in your personal life. Or the importance of being a Jew, right? Something. So how does he begin? If someone stole and he can't pay, then you have to sell him as a slave, and you have to let him go for 6 years. Really. First of all, it really never happened. But besides everything else, really. I'm so high now after Mount Sinai. But you know what the Ishbitzer says, actually the Zohar Kodesh. The first thing is to fix Adam and Eve. You know the tree of knowledge was not their tree. Think about it. When they ate from the tree of knowledge, it was stolen food. It's awesome, right? And they can't pay. They can't pay. So therefore they are sold into slavery. It's awesome, right? But yet God promises after 6 years, first it means like 6 years when Mashiach is coming, or on Shabbos, this is really not important. The important part I want you to know, the tree of knowledge is not our food. So he says, everybody knows Pesach is the fixing of the tree of knowledge. That means Pesach, matzah is called Michle de Asvosa, the healing food. Want you know something? If someone tells you, if you're on a diet or anything with health food, matzah, I don't buy that. Matzah is mamish michle de asvos. It's the most healing food in the world. And even if you don't know, if you don't feel it, never, you're not on the level yet, Imagine someone is very sick, and I give him some strong medicine. He says, I don't feel anything. Forget it. I'm a doctor, I'm telling you. The Rebbe Shem, the emes doctor, the Rosh Chodesh, he says to us, matzo is good for you. You know, last year there was someone in my shul, he says, hen matzo is too heavy, you know, and he refused. I mean, it was not a mark heavy, you know. Someone saw my name in the newspaper, he wants to come for the sale. Hey, Sister Mimi's here. Have no fear. You hear, friends? Yomtet, hey, Yomtet. So you hear, friends? You know what's so special about matzah? Matzah, the matzah which I'm eating, is mamish coming down on my highway. The only thing God asked me one thing. Before I give you that matzah, you have to get rid of the chametz. Because chametz, you know, chametz, there's nothing bad with chametz, and I can eat it all year long. But you know, on Pesach, when I begin my life again, and just be aware of one thing, because the deepest question of the world is, isn't it important to know what's right and what's wrong? What's wrong with the tree of knowledge? And I hope you remember this is a must, tailor. And if nobody should eat it, why did God create the tree? But the answer is very simple. We were supposed to eat first from the tree of life, and then the tree of knowledge. Because the first feast, Adam was created on Friday, and the first feast was supposed to be Friday night, the tree of life. Do you know that all the tzaddikim, especially in Chernobyl, do you know that all the big tzaddikim, especially in Chernobyl, one of the biggest fixings they would give out to the Chassidim is fasting on Friday. Because what was the mistake of Adam and Eve? They didn't want to wait until Friday night to eat the tree of life. So the fixing is, I'm fasting. I have time till Shabbos, right? So you see, when I eat the food, which is my food, and I'm not talking about health food, because this is not what I'm talking about now. Mamish, the food which is mamish meant for me. Mamish meant for me. Then I eat with so much simcha. See, when I eat stolen food, I'm not besimcha, right? When I eat food which is mamish, my food, sent down for me on the highway from heaven, it's so good, right? Let's put it this way. I'm going to a Chinese restaurant and I'm eating soup. It's good soup. Am I sitting there and blowing my mind with joy? No, because it's not my soup. I eat it. But imagine I'm coming home and my wife and my children make me some soup. Oh, it's so good, right? Because the soup is mamish made for me, right? Matzah is something else, right? You know what it is to be in exile? To be in exile, you have everything, but it's not really yours. You know what Eretz Yisrael is? It's mamish ours. I can live in Dallas and be a frum Yid, even go to paradise, but you didn't live in your own house. Eretz Yisrael is mamish my house, right? Pesach is my house. Why are you always worried about parnasa? Why are we so worried? Because basically I'm not connected to the highway where my parnasa is coming from. That's always a miracle if I get something. Because imagine, God forbid, if suddenly the machine doesn't work in the airplane and it's flying around there. It's to be a miracle if it finds the airport, right? See, if my highway is not in contact, how do you get your parnasa? And I feel it inside. So I'm always worried. But when I'm connected, I'm not worried. Now listen to this. Why is it when we came out of Egypt we were not worried about food? It's crazy. You don't know where your bagel is coming tomorrow morning. Why should I worry? The one who's feeding me is sending it to me. No problem. See, Pesach, not only spiritually and so to speak, religiously, am I finding my place in the world? What's happening to me in the deepest depths, that I'm re-establishing my tzina, my connection, where my parnasa is coming from. Elo osi to Hashem Yisborach, yoy oirig Yisborach, nira mefush, she'af ba'achoysher gam ken kiven od Hashem Yisborach. Oh, now we go one step deeper. What will happen when Mashiach is coming? When Mashiach is coming, what God will show us, that even when we thought we were off, in the deepest depths we weren't off either. We were never off. Because how is it possible that a Jew should be off? You know, how is it possible that the Jew should be off and God is watching us so much? You know what it means, Leil Shimurim Hul Hashem? That night it's clear to us how much God is watching us. But first I establish my highway, right? And then suddenly it's clear to me. While I eat the matzo, then I realize, mamish, it was really always my highway. A certain deep way. ורק בעולם הזה שעדיין נסתר יסבוך ואין עוד המקים בשרושה שיוכל לסכם שיש בשרושה שזה המוקר שממנו יוכל לנבוא כל החסכנס. ובזה אחר כך, and on this yontif, Meir Hashem Yisborach, God is shining into us, שיוכל להקים מקומו בשרושי. I recognize my place and my roots. And suddenly it's clear to me, where is this little piece of chumetz? Where is this little stupid thing which prevents me from being what I'm supposed to be? That's the greatest thing. I just saw somewhere in one of those magazines, a woman writes she was very sick. It's not important if it's true or not, but this is what she writes. She was very, very sick, went to all the doctors, and then she met a peasant. And the peasant told her, you know what, every morning the first thing you have to do, you have to eat a raw garlic. And after 30 days she was cured, right? You know what that means? It's a little chumetz. You just need a little garlic, right? You need something. You don't need an operation. You don't need who knows what. Small thing. God is showing to me on Pesach. ולזה מתחיל זו המסכת באור. שעוז מהשם יסבורך אין נבוא יסבורך כבר נוסע מכל הטייבס. I want you to know how deep this is. You know, I always think I lost something on my way. Friends, you know why we're so sad inside? We lost so much. You know what the biggest simcha in the world is? When God is shining into me, it's still there. It's still there. Because God doesn't let you lose anything. There's another Torah in Bes Yaakov, he says, imagine I have a child, and I give my child $1 million, and then the child is playing with $1 million. Slowly, the money is falling out. And then the child realizes, go out, I lost $1 million. And the father says, listen, I walked behind you. I picked it up all the time. I have it. It's right here, right? You know what is Leil Shimurim? A night of guarding? That God gives us back everything we lost. Everything we lost. So you see, this is unbelievable. Now listen to this. The night before the Seder, I see my roots. And I know where I'm supposed to be. And then I see what I did wrong. And I see how much I lost because of the chometz. And I'm trying to get rid of the chometz in the worst way, right? Okay, I burn the chometz. Then comes Seder night, Leil Shimurim. Then God shows me He didn't lose anything. He didn't lose anything. Mamish have it. And you see what it is. See, on Yom Kippur, I say, Rabbi Shem, I'll do tshuva, and then I'll be, hopefully, a holy person. On Pesach, it's a completely different thing. On Pesach, God is shining into me that I was always the holiest person in the world. I was always there. I was always there. You see, the night of Seder, it's clear to me in the deepest depths. The moment I'm tasting, Mashiach is here already. Mashiach is here. I want you to know something. In a certain deep way. Okay, this is the deepest. What is the greatest sin in the world? And what is the most hurting thing in the world? You know what hurts most? To be an outsider. Most heartbreaking thing in the world, right? Now take the world today. People are married, they have a wife, they have children, they have husbands. Or an outsider. How many people come home and they're outsiders in their own home? You know what the saddest thing in the world is? A Yid to come to shul feels like an outsider. He goes to a movie, he feels at home. He goes to a nightclub, hears some dirty jokes, he feels at home. Comes to shul, outsider. You know how the evil forces in the world are called? They're not called evil forces, they're called chitzonim, outsiders. They're not inside. The depths of a Yid is, I'm an insider. So therefore he says, you know how much it takes from an insider to an outsider? It's just one crumb. Mashahu. Let me tell you something. I meet this girl, she's beautiful, I like her, but I'm not made in love with her. You know why? Because there's a mashahu. There's a little crumb. Nothing wrong. something? Something. You know why we don't reach the level we're supposed to be on? Why are we outsiders instead of insiders? It's this mashu. Well, you know something awesome, like, this mashu is so deep, It is so small you can barely see it, mashu. Something. I'll tell you something else. Take the good side, right? Sometimes you meet a person, they're gewalt, right? I'll show you the same person, the same thing, but it's not a gewalt. What's the difference? It's this mashahu. Can't even put my finger on, but it's mashahu. It's a something. From inside to outside, where does outside begin? Where does inside begin? There is no border saying, oh, now you're outside, now you're inside. This is mashu. 1/1000th of an inch more, you're inside. 1/100000th of an inch, you're outside. Sometimes we're good friends with somebody, and then suddenly they become outsiders. This mashahu, a little bit hummus doesn't go right. The other way around. Sometimes we are not so close to a person, and then suddenly we are so close, right? Because we got rid of this mashu. Go out, right? Well, I had the privilege, I want to mention names, I can only mention the good. My Reb Shlomo Carlebach was gewalt, right? His amkes, the depth, was like matzo, You know how deep he was? When he would say, let's say, 1 and 1 is 2, you'd die from depth. Because the way he said it was so deep, right? Deep is not the word. But when he said something really deep, it was so heavenly. I remember there was once, in Pagin Dibur, in Gitna, in Ksubis, it's a whole long sugya and Marcus a little bit. There's a big shot from Kibbege. And all those, the greatest answered, Shaleb Diskin, a bisschen Zalmer Ober. So then, Reb Shlomo gave a shir, and he said, and you know what it is? The way he gave over Reb Kibege's question was so deep, it suddenly was clear to you that all those answers they don't even know what he's asking, right? And then he gave his answer. I could not believe. But it was not like a little bit, like a few U-turns, straight. Like Mamish, you could see every word of the Gemara is Mamish clear before his holy eyes, I remember I said to him, Rebbe, according to, the Gewalt, but not to be believed. I said, to be sure that this kid was supposed to be the greatest. So he's a Zamar Ober. I said, Mamish, they didn't understand Kibege's kasha, right? It was, Nebuch, it's a long story, but when his wife was pregnant, there was a pogrom, Nebuch, in Kremenchuk. Nebuch saw, he put his wife on a wagon, and he drove out into the forest because they were almost killing people. And he was alone with her in the forest. And he had mamish nothing with him. And Nebuch, the baby came out, and he had nothing to cut the cord, Nebuch. I don't know, he looked for something in the forest, Nebuch, heartbreaking. First of all, Nebuch, the baby died. And she was injured forever, Nebuch. She couldn't have children. And I've never seen a person giving so much love to his wife like Reb Shlomo, it was awesome, right? Anyway, so every year, whoever was good in his class, he adopted them as his children, and the Rebbetzin, adopted them, So, the last year before I left for Lakewood, I had the privilege, I was mamish like his son a little bit, if I dare say so. And Rebbetzin, was my assistant mother. Anyway, so I'm walking into Reb Shlomo and I say, I said, Rebbe, today yeshiva was mamish Mount Sinai, He was always on one hand he wasn't stupid, He knew what he was doing, right? He was a Gewalt, but then he said, look, there's Shlomo there, you shouldn't talk like this, But I saw that he was a little happy I told him, You see what it is? What was the difference between him and all the other Gedolim? Even Rab Aaron said Gewalt Teures, but inside, Reb Shlomo was inside. Inside of the inside. How much inside, There's something else. By Pesach, everything is in the house. Pesach, I want to be inside. And it's possible to be in your own house and still be an outsider. This little chometz doesn't let me. So therefore he says, you have to be so much medactic for this one crumb. Because when God wants to give me something so heavenly, so beautiful, when I see, let's say I see a homeless person on the street, give him $5. I don't have to be madly in love with this poor man to give him $5, because even if I give him stoke, it's an outside gift, right? A girl will tell me, listen, you gave this poor man $5 without being in love with him. Why can't you give me a wedding ring also without being in love with me? It's a good child, right? The answer is very simple. When I give him $5, it's outside stuff. I give you a ring, it's the inside of the inside of the inside of the inside. And if there's one little crumb doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. I tell you what, the truth is you could learn this for 10 years. But I want to stop here and want to add something to it, if you don't mind, for a few minutes. Chaim. Do you know there is no Yom Tov in the world? There is no Yom Tov in the world. Mamash, we are cleaning so much. There is no Yom Tov in the world where every woman, listen to me, who cleans the house. I think I told you once. When I was, okay, I bless everyone to have Shalom Bayis, so stupidly I got divorced, but whatever it is. When I was married, every Friday, I was mamish helping the Elah day, mamish really, the whole time. The whole time, I didn't have time to learn even one word. And every Friday before Shabbos, Ela would tell me, it's terrible, you didn't help me at all, you're only taking care of yourself, you're taking care of every shmendik as your favor, and I'm your wife, and you don't help me. You know, the first few weeks I thought, maybe something wrong with her or with me or something. And then suddenly I understood what's going on. You know what is going on? Friday, every woman has to fix the tree of knowledge, right? One of her fixing is to clean the house for Shabbos. Because remember, we were just learning it? The tree of knowledge is outside food. Tree of life is inside. Tree of knowledge is stolen food. Tree of life is inside food. And you know what it is? Where she reaches when she's doing her thing on Friday, I don't reach there. Because I as a man don't have to fix the same thing a woman does, right? And she mamish felt she is alone up there, right? But she is fixing, right? I started asking around all the Chassidish Yidden, with their wives. They told me the same thing. Their wife was always angry at them before Shabbos that they didn't help. I said, I help all the time. I told them it's true. Because where they are reaching, we don't reach there, right? I want you to know something. I'll just make it very fast. Why did God give us the Torah? What is the covenant between us and God? Give me just 5 minutes, your deepest attention. Everybody knows there's Torah Shebiksav, the written Torah, and then there's Torah Shebapeh, the oral law, which is like what God says to Moshe, but in the deepest depths it is what we're adding. Everybody knows that Torah Shebiksav is rain. Rain is, you see where it's coming from. Torah Shebapeh is dew. You can't see when it's coming, but you just feel it suddenly. Oh, it's so good, right? Mamash, a message from heaven, right? Torah Shebapeh is on the level of dew. I know it's from heaven. Well, I can't see it, right? Because I was sitting in my room learning, and Mamash was so heartbroken, I don't understand the Gemara. And suddenly it's this one drop of dew, and I understand it. So Moshe Rabbeinu said to God, you give us the Torah, but one day the Torah will be translated in all the languages, so where's our covenant? So God says, my covenant between you and me and Israel is not the written Torah. The covenant between you and me is Torah Shebapeh. It's all tradition. This, right? The Bible is translated for 3,000 years. Have you ever seen anybody writing a decent commentary on the Torah? Nobody. Only us. Only us. And you know what's so crazy about it? Even us, someone who doesn't mamish keep Shabbos and mamish keeps the 613 laws is not capable of adding to the Torah, with all due respect. They can fabricate some stupidity, but it doesn't go, right? Now listen to this. Shavuos is the yontif of Torah Shebiksav. You know what Pesach is? Torah Shebapeh. Torah Shebapeh is my private connection to God. And Gewalda, we adding every Pesach. And you know what it is? I want you to know the deepest depths. The woman is privileged to bring children to the world. So basically, Torah Shebapeh is a privilege of women. Because it's giving birth to some new stuff, right? Why was the snake so eager to get Eve to eat the tree of knowledge? Because the snake wanted to destroy our connection to God. You know what my deepest connection to God is? Not just doing what God told me to do, to add. I'll tell you something very simple. I love this girl very much. So she says to me, can you give me some coffee, right? I remember one time I said to Neshama, can you give me some apple juice? And she was little. Let's say 6 years old. So she went, took like a glass, gave me apple juice, and a plate under it, and she put a little flour on the plate. You know what that was? Tailor Shabbat Peh. That is the deepest, right? Tailor Shabbat Peh. The adding. You see what it is? The snake came to Eve because Eve is the one who can add. And here I want you to know the deepest depth. It's this way out. You know the Ishbitzer says, you know the way it's translated Chava is translated Eve. It's a cute name. Now here we have beautiful Chava here. But how do you translate Chava? Eve. Doesn't turn me on the name Eve. You know what Chava means? The Heilige Bes Yaakov says Chava comes from the word Yechavedos. Yechavedos means to show you something where you would never get there on your own. You would never get there on your own. So here the Ishbitzer says, which is the most awesome thing in the world, you know what Adam says to Eve? Maybe you made a mistake, I'm not going into it. But you know what you showed me? You showed me the deepest depths of life. Let me ask you, friends, is the deepest depths of life when you do everything wrong, when you do everything right? Isn't the deepest depths of life that you can do wrong and fix it? Because if I'm going to do everything right, it's sitting on Nathan, right? What's the holiness of this world? You see, Adam, why was Adam so broken when he ate the tree of knowledge? Because he thought, that's it. I made one mistake, I'm out. And you know because of Chava, what Chava showed him? So you did wrong, you'll fix it. You'll fix it again. I want you to know something. Take all the Torah Shabbat Peh of Pesach. There is not a yontif where there's so much written. So many tshuvas, right? What are the tshuvas? The tshuvas is not when everything is right, when everything goes wrong. I had a big pot of kosher chicken soup for Pesach, and then the crumb fell in, right? Chometz. Or something else, you know, I cooked chicken soup for whole Pesach and I left it out on the street, and I don't know, maybe somebody passed by and saw some crumbs, right? All those crazy things, you know. Or let's say the night before Pesach, I have those 10 pieces of chometz I put at the window, and I put 10 pieces in, then there's only 9. And I get crazy. I'm looking all over the house and I can't find it. What am I supposed to do? Call up my therapist, right? You know what life is so deep? Because we can do wrong. And you know what the Ishbitzer says, the deepest depths? This is awesome. Do you know when Adam really got married to Chava? Not in paradise. When they were hiding from God. When was there a chuppah? In paradise they didn't have a chuppah, just God married them off. You know what the chuppah is? When they were sitting under the tree hiding from God. The opposite deep. When do I know who my friend is? To whom I can confide when I do something wrong. It's the deepest. That is the deepest. Let me ask you, why did God make us go to Egypt and then come out? Why did we need the whole thing, right? God should have taken us, children of Abraham, bring us to the Holy Land and live happily after. You know who we would be? Robots. Nothing. Nothing. A person who never did wrong in his life is nothing. It's not worth an onion. Yosef HaTzadik thought he is Mashiach. You know why? He never did anything wrong. So you know what Yehuda did? He took his coat and put it in blood. You know what he was telling him? You think you become a Mashiach by doing everything right? You have to spill a lot of blood until you become a Mashiach. Not so simple. You have to make so many mistakes. You have to go through so much in your life. You know what the Gouda is? The Haggadah is, I want you to know, the Haggadah is the story of every one of us. And even if you don't understand it, but to give us a taste, it's a story how we went wrong, how we went to Egypt, we were slaves, we came out, until we came out, how we came out. But we always come out. We always come out. And Seder night is just so good. But I just want you to know, Seder night is Mamish Torah Shabbat Peh. It is Mamish Torah Shabbat Peh. And I mentioned last night, it's written by the Yonovi. Yonovi is the one who lives forever. You know why he lives forever? I was always learning that he loves Yidden so much, he cannot leave this world until he met every Jew, so he has to stay here forever. But right now I have a different idea. He says, I cannot leave because I want to see every mistake Yidden are making. And every generation makes different mistakes. He wants so much to know the story. Like a Hitchcock story, you can't leave in the middle, right? You can't. I want you to know something. It is possible to know every word of the Torah and not be completely in this world. You know what bugs us sometimes? Someone told me, a yeshiva bucher, who mamish wanted to leave the yeshiva, wanted to leave Yiddishkeit, and Baruch Hashem, he met Zusha, then I met him, he was talking to me. Whenever he had personal problems, he would tell the Rosh Yeshiva. Rosh Yeshiva would say, listen, you just sit and learn. It's not so simple. Sure, the Torah has a lot to say, but the Torah is heavenly. The Torah has heavenly advice, but maybe not the Torah Shalom Orchon is the answer. Right? You know what night is Seder is? Mamish, the depths of life. The deepest depths of life. What's happening to us in this world. How much pain we go through. How many mistakes we make. And maybe later on we have more time, but I want you to know, Seder night, you know what good education is? Good education is not only telling your children how to keep Shabbos, how to wash Nägelwasser. It's very important. Good education is to prepare your children how to make mistakes and come back. You know what Seder night is? Mamash, I'm in Egypt and I'm coming out. And you know what matzah is? Matzah is mamish healing me from all my wounds. And I just want to say one more thing, then maybe make a cute little intermission for 2 minutes. I want you to know what the Kodesh Maggid says, remember when we were learning it. Why is the first thing we take the matzah and we break it? The Kodesh Maggid says, a person who doesn't know that in this world the heart of every Jew is broken, then you don't know anything about life. We're not living in a world of whole heart. We're living in a Yachatz world. But this is what makes the world so beautiful. This is what makes the world so beautiful. Anyway, thank you a million times. Forgive me for making it so long or so short, whatever it is. We'll make a little intermission for a few minutes. Good.